Hey, welcome to the Painted Peach. My name is Mary and this is my channel and I'm so glad you're here today. I'm going to be repurposing some old decor that I created from, I believe, last or the year before maybe, during Christmas time. I've already kind of started sanding it up a little bit, but I thought I would repurpose it and make it a little less Christmassy and a little bit more evergreen. So join me as I do that. The blocks that I did for a previous craft, and you can see I put sweet and but twisted and things like that on this one. I only did one side on this one and I didn't really finish it. This was for a Facebook Live craft that I did, and I just didn't really have any interest in finishing it up. So today we're going to make this a little more evergreen. I do want to mention that we are in a collaboration today with Take 5, and Take 5 is a group over on Facebook as well. So look us up over there, and we hope that you'll join us in the Take 5 free group over on Facebook. Today we have a few other collaborators joining in this event, and if you're watching this at a later time, all of their links are in my description, and you can check out their pages and go over and show them some love and let them know I sent you. All right, so let's get started. First thing I want to do is do a really good coverage of red all over this, and I'm going to use Tuscan Red by Apple Barrel. I do love this red. It is a more of a dark red, as you can see. And I poured that stuff on there right on in there, didn't I? I'm going to pour it on there, and we're just going to give a good coat all over. Bring some over to the side. And this will be our undercolor. I'm actually going to do a little bit of the chippy effect like you already see on there, but I wanted it to be a little bit of a darker red underneath that shows through. So we're just going to cover this whole thing and with the Tuscan Red, and we will do the other one just after this. I'm getting all the edges, the whole thing. I really poured way too much paint on here. That's what I get for thinking I was using chalk paint. I'm so used to using chalk paint. It's all right. I'm bringing it over to all the sides, and it is going to cover this block really well. Now I'm working on a glass top table, so if I get any paint on there, it's not a big deal. It will come off very easy. I do suggest, as a little tip, if you're a crafter, to get yourself a glass top or a piece of glass to go over your craft table to protect it. And it has easy peasy cleanup after you get done. You just take a little bit of water and a wipe or a sponge or something and clean it right on up. All right, I'm going to pick up the rest of this paint up here. Woo. And let's try to get, I still have to do the bottom, but I want to try to get some of that off of there. That was crazy what I was doing. All right, let's dry this part. Oh, gotta turn on my dryer first. Now, when you're doing the chippy or any crackle or anything like that, you want to make sure that you get your paint fully dry. You do not want to have wet paint under there because it will, especially using red, it'll really make it look pink rather than the red that you want. It still could do that because red, of course, is super pigmented, and sometimes when you do this, it gives a little bit of a pink hue, and that's fine with me, but I just wanted the darker color underneath to show through. I was going to do a teacup thing today because we have an event in our Facebook group for a tea party, and I was thinking I wanted to do something to go with it. My project for that But then I found these blocks and I was like, let's do something with these today. I'm curious to know if anybody does that when they create stuff. If you just grow out of it, if you decide you want to make something else out of it, you tear it apart or sand it down or whatever it may be, and just create something that you love. If you're a crafter like me, you tend to carry a lot of your crafts into your craft room and they sit there if you haven't sold them, and then later you just grab them up and you do something different with them. All right. Once we get these 4 or 5 or however many sides we have here, once we get these sides good and dry, we'll turn it over and get that bottom portion. This side's going to need another coat. You can already see that. I'm just taking my brush and smoothing out some of the streaks that were on there from having so much paint. I don't want it to look all streaky. Although it's going to be chipped anyway, so it don't really matter, but you know what I mean. I didn't want any thick spots. Alright, let's turn it over and get this side. There's string on there. I'm just going to take what's on my brush. I'm not going to pour that much out again. That was silliness. I'm just going to get a good coat on this side. Now this one was painted white underneath, so it's going to do a little bit better coverage than what we had on the others. I'm just going to carry this over to the other side. Grab this side, but I know that I need some more on. You're going to do that one again. That one had some chalk paste on it, and I think that the chalk paste was kind of peeling up. I did sand it before, but you know, chalk paste isn't a permanent thing unless it's sealed in there. All right, let me see. Let's dry that up. Now we're going to do the other one, and that's pretty much, it's almost the same color that it is already, but of course we have to paint over all that, you know, writing on there from the stenciling that I did before. I'm just going to set this one to the side and let it dry. I'm going to clean up this paint that we have on here so I don't get it on my other block. Okay, let's bring this one over. I am going to take my little sanding block to these words, because when you stencil, they are raised. I'm just going to take a paper towel and wipe them. Get some of that dust off of there. And this is kind of the look we're going with, but it's going to be reversed. So the blue is going to be underneath. And the blue that we are using is from Bear, and it is soft turquoise. And it is a color sample, actually. So it's really pretty. We're going to get our paintbrush and get to painting. Now I'll still be able to see these raised areas back here because I didn't get a good big sander and get all that off, but I'm not worried about that myself. If you are, you can take it and sand it completely down back to the wood or whatever you want to do to get those raised stencil marks off. And of course, if this was brand new, you wouldn't have to do that. These were actually upcycled to begin with. I got them from the Dollar General, and they were like regular dice with the little dots on them. Today we're going to make them dice with numbers so that they are still everyday, but they'll have numbers, and you can maybe use the date or something like that. Whatever date it is, you can turn them to that. I don't know, I just thought it would be cute to have out. Oops, I dropped that on my hand, you guys. Crazy. Crazy with this paint today. I don't want to touch my other block over there. Now, some of the colors that are underneath from the stenciling may come through when I do the chippy. They may not, but I'm hoping that I have good enough thick coats on here that they won't. But if they do, it's fine because they're all similar colors, red and turquoise. And I think it'll be fine. If they show through, it'll give a little bit more of a chippy look because, like I've said a few times now, chippy's just a bunch of old paint under old paint under other old paint, and it's just people painting and painting over the paint that was already on there. Many years of painting. So when you do the faux chippy, that's a good thing, really, to have a bunch of different layers of colors. Now I'm definitely going to have to do another coat. I can see the letters coming through already. Another way you can stop that is you could seal it before you started painting. That way the colors wouldn't bleed through, they'll be sealed up. I'm sure you can see that the letters are shining through. So we're going to do another coat on this one for sure. Like I said, it's not that big a deal, but I do want to at least have it mostly blue shining through. I'm going to go ahead and cover those areas one more time. And try to go the opposite direction that I did last time. So if I went side to side, this time I'm going to go up and down and try to get the paint to cover a little bit more, going against the groove of what I did before, if that makes any sense at all. Sometimes things make sense in my mind and they might not make sense to other people. I just feel like it grabs it a little better if you go opposite of what you already did. Alright, let me try that and then we'll do the bottom portion and then we can get started on the chippy. That's the best part. I love doing chippy, you guys. Chippy is my favorite thing to do. Crackle is second. I'm not a real big fan of crackle. I haven't mastered the one that I really like yet, so chippy is just my go-to. Still see it. Also, these are not chalk paints, but I prefer to use chalk paints when I'm doing chippy. The paint that I'll use on the top is chalk paint. So I'm not really sure if this will turn out as good as my usual times I do chippy, because I usually use all chalk paint. But lately I've gotten these new colors and these other paints and I'm just loving them, so I've been wanting to use them more. And trying to go outside of my comfort zone a little bit. I'm going to turn this over and let's get this part really quickly. I'm sorry, you guys, about my noisy air conditioner in the background, if you can hear that. I have to have that here in South Georgia as it is hot in my craft room. So if that is a lot of noise for you, I'm sorry. I will check the video and try to avoid it next time if so. But it's really hot, so I hope that you'll just endure it and bear with me if it's noisy. Alright, I'm going to do one more over that. I can see the letters, but I'm okay with it. I'm not going to be picky. And we're going to start with the red one since this one was just painted. The red one's a little bit more dry. There are some spots that I still see that need to dry over there, but it'll be alright. I'm going to set that one to the side. Let's clean up our mess. I'm going to close up my blue paint. And when I paint, you guys, I get it all over the place. Ooh, I got to close up my red paint over here before I spill it. Pour course, my water bottle quit spraying, so I'm having to pour it instead of spraying it. I need to get a new one for out here. I've got 3 water bottles. 2 are inside for hair, and then this one is my craft room one, but definitely going to have to get a new one. That one has given out on me. I take that back. I have another one also for my plant. I have house plants that I just spray with water. Oops, I just got that dirty. It's dirty right there. And probably won't be able to use this paintbrush. I already put it in the water. Let's see. I'll sit on top of this burlap to the side and let that dry. All right, let's start over here. I just got blue. What am I doing? I got blue on my red. Goodness me. Let me get some water and see if I can sprays a little bit out of there. All right, and it's not going to matter. I don't know why I'm so worried about it, but look at my hands. Okay, so now that we have this all nice and red, and there's a lot of dust and stuff on it, but I can't help that. I'm in a craft room, right? All right. So the next step I'm going to do, I'm going to use some of the surface wax, and I'm going to take a little brush and just get some of this wax on it. I'm going to find the areas that I want to add it. I'm not going to add a whole bunch because I don't want, you know, my whole white paint to come off. But I am especially going to go around like the edges of it and add the wax. And then maybe a few places on the inside. Like that. All right, so we're going to do one side at a time while we do this. So I've got my wax on there. I don't know, you can see it. Now we're going to take some, you can't see it because it's got paint on it, but this is plaster chalk paint by Waverly. And we are going to paint it right over the top of all of that with the wax. Now you can use candle wax, you can use surface wax, you can use Vaseline. Chapstick is my favorite thing to use. The main thing is don't overwork it. Try to do the least amount of strokes over the area, especially if you're using Vaseline. Now this is wax, so it may not work as good. We're going to test that out on this side, and then maybe I'll grab the Vaseline and show you the difference on the other parts. I'm going all the way around the edges. I don't want to go too far down because I want to be able to do the other sides. And then I'm just making sure I get a good coat on here. Mainly because I don't want it to look pink. And then I'm going to dry it. You want to make sure you get it good and dry, and move around your heat so it doesn't bubble. Now, there is a technique that you can cause bubbles, and it helps it look a lot more authentically chipped. And we might do that on another video, but for this one, I'm not going to do that. I want to move my heat around and make sure I get my paint nice and dry in all areas before we scrape. Now with the Vaseline, you can usually just wipe it right off. Also the chapstick, but when you're using wax, usually you have to take a scraper, paint scraper or something like that. Now I do have a crackle going on right there. I didn't intend for that. but that just shows that I'm applying too much heat in that area. All right, I'm going to get this good and dry. And then we're going to take our paint scraper. Mine is about had it. I'll try to get some of that off. So I just have one of these little paint scrapers, and I'm just going to take it and run it along those edges where I put the wax, and then you're just going to scrape. I'm going to go the opposite direction. Now, this one's getting it kind of dirty, but I'm fine with that because my paint scraper is dirty. I'm going to go the complete, like a crossways section with it. And then I'm going to take a sanding paper, which, let me get a new one so I don't get any color on there. And I'm just going to go straight across, up and down, circles, get those edges. I'm just going to take my paint and kind of go back in and add a little bit more white because it looks a little dingy. I don't want it to look all that dingy. All right, so we've got chippy going on there on that side. I like that. Now on the next side, I'll show you how to do it with the Vaseline. So this is just generic Equate petroleum jelly. And I am going to use that in the same manner I used the wax, the surface wax. I'm just going to get my brush, get a little bit of it, and add it where I want it. Here and there. Now with the Vaseline, if you don't like big chippy, you need to be very careful and not add too much. It will give you a really big chunk of paint out of there, so you got to be careful with that. I'm just going to go around the edges a little bit, maybe just a random one here and there. All right, let's get that lid on. Now you're just going to go straight in with your paint. Now with this, you don't want to work it too much, so I've got a good thick amount of paint on here. I'm just going to go up and down and add it. And then I'm going to go back across and grab some of that paint that was thick. Spread it out. Make sure you get your sides. Go back down. All right. Let's try that. I put a really good coat on there because when you're doing the Vaseline, you don't want to overwork it, so you want to make sure you get your coat on there the first time. I don't like to go back over it. I like to get it good and dry, and usually you'll be able to see, you see how it's showing you where you put the Vaseline. It'll darken up right there. I'm going to use the paper towel and show you guys how it just, usually it'll wipe right off. I'm not sure with this type of paint, but we're going to find out. And I do have crackling going on because I'm applying a lot of heat, but that's okay too. I like crackle. Chalk paint tends to crackle. All right, so I'm going to take a clean paper towel and I'm just going to run it across. And it's not working on this paint, so let me get my scraper. All right, so just take my scraper. opposite direction. I'm not really putting a lot of pressure down. I'm just running it across. I don't like that line right there. Let me go back over that. Put my scraper down too hard and it put a line across it. Right, we have some Vaseline right here that not wanting to come off, so let's just dig a little bit in that part. I'll go around my edges and scrape. Give it a good sand, and then that's how the Vaseline compared to the wax. I prefer the Vaseline over the wax. You see, the wax just gives you certain chunks, and I feel like the Vaseline spreads it more, but that is that. All right, let's get, I think I'm going to continue on with the Vaseline on this side. A lot of chunkiness going on, but it's okay. This is going to be a chunkiness kind of project anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. All right, so we're just going to finish this one up, and then we will move on to our blue one, and then we'll do some stenciling. I have a Chalk Couture stencil, an older one. This isn't a new one. I used to be a Chalk Couture designer, which is someone who sells their products, and I no longer am, but I have so many stencils that I'm going to use them when I'm, when I need something. So that's what I'll be using today. I'm kind of overworked that Vaseline, but we'll see if it works. I have a mess up here on my table, you guys. Excuse the mess. I need to get in here and do a real good cleaning again. Over Christmas time, or it was New Year's, I believe, we did a organization event over on Facebook, and I had my craft room all cleaned out, and now it is overloaded again. And I just need to get organized. If you have any tips on staying organized in the craft room, put them in the comments below. I could definitely use some tips. I think all of us crafters could use some tips. All right, I know this part right here is very Vaseline infested, so I'm going to be easy on it. I don't want to smear that red. Get the paper towel and wipe right there because that Vaseline is thick. All right, so this side got some scrapes on it from me doing that. I'm just going to take my sandpaper to that. So we've got a few more sides to go on that. I need to sand this. There's some crackle going on up here. Alright, so I'm going to, let me see if I can wipe. No, that paint just doesn't want to do it. Doesn't want to do it. Alright, we're going to scrape. You can see some of the blue coming through, which is fine because, you know, our other one is blue, so we want them to match anyway, so that's good. I'm not mad at that at all. Now once I get this one done, I'll probably only do one side of the blue one with you guys, and then I'll just show you the finished piece at the end. I really appreciate you guys joining me here today. If you're watching this, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and come back and see me again. I'm trying to grow my channel here. I am a newer YouTuber, and I would love to have you as one of my friends here. Again, I am in a collaboration today with the Take 5 collaboration, and we are a group of creatives from Facebook that come over here a couple times a month and get our craft on. So we'd love for you to join us, and all of their links to their channels are in my description, and we'd love to have you over on Facebook as well. The group over there is Take 5, and we'd love to have you join us. It's a free group with events that go on all the time. Right, that one has kind of like a circle, but I'm digging it. That's where that stencil was. All right, over here, I'm just going to do some random ones and see how that goes. Let's see. Got some fuzz on there. I'm not going to worry about it being full coverage either. I do want to get those streaks off of there though. Let's see how this one did. like it. Compared to the other ones, it has a lot more scratchiness going on. And you can see this one's the cleanest one, as it was the one we first did with the surface wax. Alright, I'm going to do one side of this one, and we'll just go ahead and stencil the red and white one after that, and I'll finish this one up after. Just gnaw this off of here. Alright, I've got paint dust everywhere. Let's get our Vaseline on this one. Just so we can see how the blue one is, and then we'll move on to the next step. I know you guys have been watching me do this for a bit. But you've got the hang of it now. You know how to chippy for sure, right? And you've seen the difference between surface wax and Vaseline today. On another one, I'll do the chapstick another day and show you guys that. And I'll do a wax melt. I used to make wax melts, and I have a lot of those, so I can show you guys that method with one of them as well. See, that one's kind of working with the wiping method. In some places, I'm going to get out my scraper. Up these little dirty areas from that scraper. I need to get a new scraper or get that one clean, one or the other. Alright, so there is one side. I really like the blue, but we're going to start with the red. So let me get this paint closed up for now. And my Vaseline. And we're going to get moving with a stencil. So this is the stencil I have, and we're going to put numbers on these blocks. I'm only going to do a few sides to show you because we've been here for a while doing painting, right? So I'm going to get this stencil out, and this stencil is a mesh green stencil, so these are reusable. You just clean them afterwards. As you can see, I've used the number 1, 4, and 5 already. So I have these little blocks right here for a reference of what numbers I need to put on each block so they would work. So the red one we're going to use first, and I'm going to put a 0 on this side. We're going to stick it right on there, and it's sticky, so it sticks right to your surface. press it down. And then what you use with these is something called chalk paste. So we will be using chalk couture chalk paste today. I don't think I want to use that color. And the color I'm going to use is teal, if I can find it. It must be on my desk. Here it is. It's already up here, guys. So this is teal. I figured it matched pretty good. I don't know. It doesn't match now that I have it. Let me look for a different one. We're going to use... Let's see. No, it doesn't match. My goodness. I guess I should have prepared better. Use Lakeshore. I think that matches the best. Sorry about that. So what we use with these are little things called squeegees. And I don't know where my squeegees are at the moment. No, I know I brought them over here. Let me see if I can find one. One moment, please. Pause. That's what I was looking for. A squeegee. Alright, so we're going to use Lakeshore to do this. And you just take the paste and squeegee it right on there and pick it right back up. So we got the 0 on there, and then you just pull up and you have your number. I'm going to stick that right back over on my sheet that they come on. We're going to dry that one. Now you can see my zeros here. On this side I have a 5, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it just like these so I don't mess up. I'm going to turn it to this side and we're going to grab our 5 off of here and get it on there as good as I can centered. If it's not perfect, it's fine because nobody's perfect. I know I'm not. I'm just going to rub it on there, squeegee it off as I go, and move it down. So you kind of pick it up and slide it over the other open area. And you don't have to push real hard. My paste right here is a little dry, so you want to make sure your paste is good. See, that came up a little bit. That's fine. I'm not upset. It came up there too, and that was where that Vaseline was in there. You can see it came into my mesh, but I'm not mad at that. It's okay. I'll clean that right off of my stencil. All right, I've got to dry this one. Let me plug us up. Boop. All right. Now, if you were worried about it, you could always go back over it. I'm not, because it adds to the character of it. I love how it looks. I'm going to keep it that way. I'll lift it up and show you exactly what happened. Alright, so we've got, I'm going to lay a napkin under this because I'm worried about it getting filthy. We've got 5, so we're going to turn this. We need a 2. Grab the 2 off of here and line it up to the best I can and go with it. There's our 2. I was just going to do one side of this, but I think we'll do the whole thing so we have one at least done. And then I'll clean these numbers, I'll finish the blue one and add that in later so you can see it all finished up. Alright, so let's flip our block. We need a 3. One time for Christmas, I made a bunch of little red and wooden trucks that held blocks that you could change the countdown to Christmas. And it was so hard to keep up with what numbers went on what block, so I had to do that. So that's my little trick of keeping up with what number I need. Alright, so we're done. We're back to our 0. So I'm going to flip it back to 0, and then we're going to flip up, and we know that this 1 needs to go this way. So let's get our 1 on here. And this one might bleed a little bit because it looks like it has a little bit of damage to the stencil. So I'm going to be as careful as I can on those parts. Looks good there. Looked good. All right, so we got our 1. All right, so we have 1. We have 5. Here we need 4. And then I think this block may be done. I'll have to check all the sides. Can't quite remember. All right, we have all of our block done. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all on this block. So on our other block, we will have the other numbers, which will be another 0, 1, 2, 9, which could also be a 6, an 8, and a 7. And I got some blue on there. So that is what we were doing today. I'm so glad that you joined me. Check out the end of this video. I'll finish this up real quick and it'll all be on here. Thank you for joining me. right, we are all finished up. We've got our numbers all done, so you could sit them out to say what day it is. You could do like 18th. You could do the 12th. It could be the 19th or the 16th. Or you can just sit them out as a decoration. They don't have to really be, numbers. So that's what we have, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. I really like the chippiness on them. They're all different on each side. It's really nice, and I hope that you like it too. Have a great day, everybody, and make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.